Well, good afternoon, everyone. I am Mike Ellis, the Minister of Public Safety and Emergency Services for the province of Alberta. I'd like to thank you all for joining me here today. I'm here in the beautiful town of St. Paul, Alberta, and I'm here today to provide details on a $27.3 million investment in the Alberta Sheriffs that will enhance public safety throughout this province. It's an investment that will give law enforcement agencies new tools to fight rural crime, and that will also boost and benefit communities like St. Paul. A significant portion of this budget increase will allow the sheriffs to hire new officers to provide and perform important functions like traffic enforcement, security at provincial courthouses, and prisoner transportation. This is necessary investment towards ensuring that Alberta sheriffs can continue the important work they do every day to ensure Albertans are safe. As important as putting, quote, more boots on the ground, unquote, is for maintaining public safety, this expansion of the Alberta Sheriffs is part of a strategy to develop new and innovative ways of working with law enforcement partners. To that end, we're creating two new sheriff surveillance teams that will assist RCMP detachments that need investigative support. The Alberta Sheriffs have an existing surveillance unit that will work with Alberta law enforcement response teams regarding serious and organized crime investigations. The RCMP has its own surveillance capacity as well, but like the sheriff teams attached to Alert, it's focused mainly on major investigations. These new sheriff teams will fill a gap by helping the RCMP detachments with local investigations that the current model does not account for. Rural Albertans know that these issues are all too frequent, and they certainly know these issues all too well. I've heard countless stories of home invasions being committed by prolific offenders or thefts from farms. Every property owner has a right to feel safe in their home and a right not to worry about waking up to find their equipment gone or fuel siphoned from vehicles. These are the types of cases that really keep rural Albertans up at night, and they need solving. We're also expanding the Rapid Response Initiative established in 2021 to assist the RCMP with emergencies and urgent calls in rural areas of the province. In 2021, Fish and Wildlife officers were given the training and authority to answer calls for assistance when they're closer to an incident than the RCMP or when the RCMP may need backup. New funding will go to train and equip members of the Sheriff Highway Patrol to assist the RCMP in similar circumstances. Now, given their presence on provincial highways, it only makes sense to have them available to help the RCMP as well. Keeping Albertans safe means using all the legal means at our disposal to fight crime, which is why the Safer Communities and Neighbourhoods Unit of the Alberta Sheriffs has been such a valuable asset since it was formed in 2008. The SCAN unit, as it is known, uses civil enforcement to tackle crimes committed using property by holding owners accountable when illegal activity does take place. SCAN investigators often work with the local police using evidence gathered by law enforcement to assist in their own investigations. Police, in turn, can often use evidence gathered by SCAN investigators to bolster their investigations. In these kinds of cases, police deal with the offenders themselves via criminal charges. The SCAN units work deals with properties placing legal conditions on the owners aimed at making sure the criminals don't return and preventing new ones from moving in. The SCAN units' work with the police has been, in many cases, an effective one-two punch, stopping criminals from their further activities that are plaguing neighbourhoods sometimes for years and years. We're building on that kind of success by using some of these new funding to double the size of the SCAN unit. The Alberta Sheriff's plan will base several of the new SCAN positions in regional hubs, increasing the unit's capacity to investigate complaints in rural communities. Underpinning these new initiatives, we will provide all members of the Alberta Sheriffs with full powers to arrest under the criminal code. Some members of the sheriffs already have criminal code authorities, but we believe that the public will be better served with consistency. throughout this province. These new plans will ensure that when an Albertan turns to an officer in an emergency, they will get help, regardless of the uniform that the officer is wearing. It's important for me to say that here, these new resources and new roles for the Alberta Sheriffs are all aimed at improving public safety for Albertans under the current policing model. There has been some misleading commentary about this investment in the Alberta Sheriffs, namely that it's a way of laying the groundwork for establishing a provincial police service by some other means. Firstly, I'd like to remind people that the provincial government hasn't made any decision about Alberta Police Service. We know that it's important for the province to weigh in on all public safety options, and that's why we've been very clear that our focus is on empowering municipalities to make their own choice and to make sure that the current policing model is meeting the needs of Albertans. To that end, our increased investment in the Alberta Sheriffs is an important support for police here in Alberta. Having the Sheriffs perform specialized law enforcement functions like court security and prisoner transport ensures that officers can be where they need to be. And there was a time when the RCMP used to provide security in rural Alberta courtrooms, which are now being run by the Alberta Sheriffs. We're building on the specialized expertise and the professionalism of the Alberta Sheriffs to support our law enforcement partners. Tackling complex public safety issues requires partnerships, fresh ideas, and we're going to move through them as quick as possible. Now, we're proud of the work that Alberta Sheriffs do to protect our communities, and we believe that we can play an even greater role in ensuring that Albertans are safe and secure no matter where they choose to call home. So thank you, and I'd like to invite Chief Shake to the podium from the Alberta Sheriffs to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister Ellis. Good afternoon. I am Chief Farouk Sheikh, and I'm the Chief of Alberta Sheriffs. Prior to coming here, I had extensive policing experience both here in Canada and across in England at London Metropolitan Police and West Midlands Police. And like the Minister, that policing knowledge and experience is handy when managing the Sheriff's Department. Both us, all my sheriffs, and others in law enforcement chose this career is because we genuinely and passionately want to protect and serve our communities. So this is an exciting day for all of our Alberta Sheriffs. Our officers are proud, they work tirelessly and professionally to keep our Albertans safe. This investment in Alberta Sheriffs will ensure we continue the important work already being done and will expand our role in protecting Albertans for now and in the future. While our members have a visible presence in many functions they perform, such as highway patrol, fish and wildlife enforcement, security in our provincial courts and legislature, the sheriffs perform a lot of important work to keep communities safe that's outside the public eye. Investigations by our Safer Communities and neighbourhood teams, SCAN, keep people safe, and they help the communities by tackling crime in their areas. You occasionally hear about a SCAN unit's work in some extreme cases, where they obtain court orders authorising them to shut down drug houses where crime and violence pose a significant risk to the surrounding communities. What you may not hear is that the SCAN unit has investigated more than 8,000 complaints since 2008, and in the majority of cases has been resolved matters by working with the property owners. Crime in the neighbourhoods to reclaim sense of safety, enjoy peace and quiet they deserve. Some of the new SCAN investigators will be based in regional offices, increasing our capacity to take on cases and in rural areas across the province. As Minister Ellis mentioned, a portion of the budget increase will go towards establishing new Sheriff's surveillance team. We are proud of the work surveillance officers do and have performed for years, assisting alert with serious organised crime investigations. Creating new surveillance teams that will be able to assist RCMP with investigations at a local level is a smart way of leveraging our existing expertise to make a real difference in the ongoing fight against rural crime. Similarly, I'm pleased that Sheriff's Highway Patrol will have expanded role assisting RCMP through the Rapid Response Initiative. Members of the Sheriff's Highway Patrol have already demonstrated their ability to tackle new challenges. Since being given the added authority to investigate impaired driving in 2021, the Sheriff's Highway Patrol has taken more than 2,500 impaired drivers off the road, keeping our roads safe. I'm proud of the versatility and professionalism of our officers in every area of the Sheriff's Branch. And what I would like to say is that when I first met the Minister, we talked about public safety. We talked about the fiscal restraints that I had as the Chief of the Sheriff's Branch. He reassured me that he would do everything he could and give us investment, tools and equipment to improve safety. I'm proud to say and happy to say he's delivered his promise. On behalf of the entire organisation, I would like to thank the Minister, the Government for this investment and say we're looking forward to making the most of these new tools to keeping all Albertans safe. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. We will now go and answer some questions that we have on the line. Please identify the organization you represent and your name before asking your question, and let us know if you have a follow-up. Operator, please put through the first caller.
Doug Ferguson, Western Producer.
Hi there. Just had a question for Mr. Ellis about are there any particular areas that the new measures for sheriffs will focus on in Alberta?
Well, I think that might be an operational question for the chief, but certainly from the perspective of the government, it's ensuring that the sheriffs and our current policing service, provincial policing service in Alberta, obviously the RCMP, have, of course, the necessary resources to go and fight and combat the rural crime problem, and quite frankly, a lot of the organized crime problem that's occurring right here in pretty much every jurisdiction in Alberta. But maybe I'll pass it to the chief for some further comment.
Hello, good afternoon. I've witnessed firsthand, and somebody who's got 29 years policing experience, I was immensely impressed with the level of knowledge that the sheriffs have and what they can do that police are not able to do. So some of the areas that we'll be improving on, and different areas have asked for support. Lethbridge is an example. Some more support with our scan team to start, closing down these drugs houses, reducing crime. Our ability with our surveillance capacity and the training that we have to support RCMP and other policing jurisdictions to tackle crime. Our ability to put more traffic resources on our streets, not only to reduce fatalities, road collisions, but actually to deter crime, as well as supporting RCMP and our police jurisdiction in addressing crime and priority one calls. There's a number of areas that I'm fortunate to manage, and like I said, the Sheriff's Branch, by expanding, we'll be able to flex our expertise and support other areas and other policing jurisdictions in keeping Albertans safe.
Sorry, I'm sorry, I can do one more follow-up if you don't mind. And the chief brought up a really good point. Some of these officers actually have enormous expertise in kind of transportation investigations. So when we're talking about the illegal importation of illegal guns coming across the border, when we talk about illegal narcotics that are coming across the border from the United States, as well as the human trafficking component, these folks have absolutely the skill set to deal with a lot of these big rigs and conduct these investigations to tackle some of this crime on a importation and organized crime level.
Thank you. Doug, do you have a follow-up?
Yes, it's just another one for Mr. Ellis. Just about you mentioned the provincial police force and how no decision's been made, and this has nothing to do today's announcement with the sheriffs about the force. Has this issue been? Is it accurate to say this issue has now been shelved, basically, or is it still an active file for you?
No, it's still an active file, but we have certainly made a decision to empower the municipalities, as I mentioned in my comments. Really, it's communities that are going to know what's best for them. So that's why we have a police transition grant that we've made available. Any municipality in Alberta can apply for this grant. A third-party report can be conducted and done, and it can determine what is going to work best for any community. And, you know, all options are on the table. You know, if the report comes back saying the existing model works, if the report comes back saying a municipal police service, if the report comes back saying a regional approach, or some variation thereof, then of course, you know, we're going to work with that community to do what is best for them. That being said, we've probably had at least a dozen communities have reached out to our government and applied for this grant. So, so we're pleased and willing to work with them on that.
Thank you. Operator, please put through the next caller.
Michelle Bellefontaine, CBC.
Oh, hi there. This is a question for Minister Ellis. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, great. Sorry, I have something weird happening with my phone, so I just wanted to double check. So I'm curious about where this fits in. Like you say that about a dozen communities have applied for these grants, and that the government wishes to empower communities to have the type of policing that they want. And I know the Premier the other day mentioned that there was one community that wanted to have a sheriff's detachment. Is this what's going on in St. Paul, that you're setting up a detachment of sheriffs?
No. But I know, Michelle, you'd like me to expand on that. No, there is a community that reached out to us. They're, you know, when we provided them the option of, you know, all options being on the table, you know, whether they want to have their own municipal police service, whether they want to have, what do I say, regional approach, or whatever the case may be, you know, they were very, very clear to us that they would like their own, they want to be part of the Alberta Provincial Police Service. So, you know, I respect all municipalities. Again, no decision has been made. We're going to see what we can do to try and accommodate their wishes. Again, I put it back on the municipality. We want to work with them. We want to empower them, and we want to make sure that we're meeting their needs.
Michelle, do you have a follow-up?
I do have a follow-up. Yeah, I do. Thank you. I want to understand, though, you're talking about regional offices. Can you tell me where these regional offices are going to be? I mean, presumably there's one of them is going to be in St. Paul. Is that why you're there today making this announcement?
No, I'm in St. Paul because it's a great community. It's in rural Alberta, and we want to support all the people of Alberta. So life doesn't always revolve around Edmonton and Calgary. But I think we'll ask Chief Sheikh here to maybe supplement and talk about a little bit more. A little bit more of the operational side of things. Yeah.
Hello, good afternoon. We've got resources all around Alberta, and some of the areas that we'll be looking to see when we look to expand our scan capability. At the moment, they're all regionalised in Edmonton and Calgary, but then we have to travel out 2 or 3 hours to get to Lethbridge and other areas to support people. So if I can get some resources out in some of these rural areas, so they provide a better service to that communities, and that's my intention of what I want to do. And I want to spread my resources as much as I can across the province to provide a better service to those neighbourhoods.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Good. Thank you.